All right, we're live, guys. Thank you. First of all, thank you to all the veterans out there. Happy Veterans Day. For those of you that are not veterans and don't really understand the difference or anything, there's a huge difference between Veterans Day and Memorial Day. Let's just be very clear about that. And on Veterans Day, we thank all our veterans for their sacrifice and service. So huge shout out and love to every veteran out there watching this show right now. And what I hope to do today is bring some light to some of the benefits that are out there. And I'm gonna be very honest with you guys. I am a culprit to not taking advantage of the veteran benefits that are available to me. So we have a couple guests on today. Jen Kurz, which most of you know, is my wife. She is a lender, a loan officer with Freedom Mortgage with the home team. And then I have Max with me. Max is, well, Max, what is your title? Max works with Veterans Affairs in Miami, right?
I'm the outreach coordinator for the Miami VA.
Awesome. Outreach coordinator for the Miami VA. And the reason that I have these two individuals on with me, first of all, thank you both for doing this with me on Veterans Day. Everybody's off. Kids are home from school. You know, you can see Max is at home. He's not at the VA right now. You know, and the reason we wanted to put this out and bring you two to the table is because it is still astonishing for me how many veterans don't really understand the benefits that they have, even if they just served a short amount of time. I think a lot of veterans believe that before you can get benefits, you know, you have to retire officially, you know, do your 20, 30 years in. And I think one of the places that I have actually personally gone and spoken to congressmen and senators about, and with VA rep, one of the places that we're hurting the most is in the actual military. When service members are actually separating from the military, there is not a really good sit down, week-long, whatever it is, where we sit down with our active soldiers and Marines and sailors and tell them, you're separating from the military now. These are the things you should do when you go, right? And so I kind of want to start with, you know, being in the real estate business for 15 years, ever since I got out of the Marine Corps, to be honest with you. When I got out, my cousin said I should be a realtor. I became a realtor, and that was it. And I to this day, 15 years later, it still blows my mind how many realtors shy away from the VA loan, how many veterans believe it's not a good loan, how many veterans don't even know if they qualify or don't for a VA loan. They just don't understand the benefits. Jen, you know, talk to me a little bit about that. Talk to me about, you know, for instance, I know it changes from bank to bank, but what are like minimum scores for VAs? What are their caps? What are their, like, you know, I'm a novice civilian. Let's call it that, right? I'm an expert Marine. I'm a novice civilian. Explain to me my benefit.
So when it comes to the VA loans, like you said, a lot of veterans don't know what they have and that they can use it multiple times even. Essentially, the VA loan allows a veteran to purchase a property with zero money down. There are closing costs that they would have to pay, but there are certain fees that the sellers take on. So essentially, your closing costs are a little less. With VA, generally, the credit requirements is 580. We're in COVID timeframe, so you know, right now it's 600 and above where we are in Freedom Mortgage, and at the beginning of this year, the cap for the amount of loan that you can get was removed. Therefore, if you qualify financially, you can, and you have full entitlement, you can purchase a property of millions of dollars. You just have to.
And obviously, I've been personally watching you do this. You've been working on loans for veterans that are over $1 million, that are 4-unit properties. We're talking about quadplexes. We're talking about one building, 4 units. And these veterans are thinking, what a great investment opportunity, but also I have to use my VA in my homestead, so I'm just going to live in one and let the other 3 pay my mortgage.
So essentially, that's one of the requirements for the VA. It does have to be a primary residence for you to be able to use that benefit. And so if there are multiple units, up to 4 units you can purchase, we can use the potential income for the other units in order to qualify you, in addition to any additional income that you might have, VA disabilities and stuff like that. But obviously, you buy a larger property with multiple units, it's going to be a lot more expensive. So we use the potential income from there to qualify you as long as one of those units you will be occupying.
Max, you could probably answer this for me. What are we talking about when we talk about benefits? Because Jen talked about, 0 money down, low credit score, okay, no cap. But what are some of the tax benefits? What are some of the disability benefits, et cetera?
Well, one of the biggest, one of the first things that you always got to do before you use your VA loan is get your certificate of eligibility. You need to get the certificate of eligibility. What basically a certificate of eligibility is only a piece of paper that the VA comes up with saying that yes, you were honorably, and yes, you are a veteran, and yes, you are entitled to the VA loan. So that is the number one thing that every veteran has to get in order to use their VA loan. Now, the certificate of eligibility is easy to get these days now. I mean, like about 10 years ago, 15, when I got out of the service, it was painful because you used to call the VA. It took 2-3 weeks for them to mail you that form. I mean, it was now these days you can use a fax. They can use, as a matter of fact, you can go into the VA website and you can get that certificate yourself. Now, the biggest advantage, one of the biggest advantages about the VA loan is that, if you're service connected, you can get that tax exemptions and on the property, which I think is 10%, goes up to $5,000, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to look at my notes. But again, if you are a veteran, service connected with at least 10%, you can use your tax exemptions with the property.
That's awesome. All right, Jen, talk to me about VA loans have a funding fee. Where is that funding fee placed? How is it paid? And how can I get rid of my funding fee?
So the concept of getting rid of it, there may be multiple factors, but the one that I see most common is when you have your disability benefits. Okay, when you have your VA disability benefits, so you're exempt from the funding fee, therefore it's not added to your loan. So the way it works is if you're not exempt and it's your first time using the VA, then there is a 1.75% of loan that gets added to your loan, and that is the funding fee.
Okay, so the funding fee is added to the loan. So this is not something I, the veteran, have to pay out of pocket at the closing table.
No.
So it gets put on the back of the loan.
Correct.
So I'm going to borrow $200,000 for the purchase of this house plus 1.57%.
That's right. If it's your first.
If it's my first, right? And then if I have a service connected disability at the minimum of 10%, how much is my funding fee?
You should be exempt, therefore you don't have any funding fee.
That's pretty wild. And I'm going to lead this to Max because I want to talk about how difficult is it to get service connected disability, because I think that, we all know it's a pain in the butt, but how difficult is it really?
Well, in the last few years, the whole system has gotten better. I think many veterans still under the impression that how the system used to work maybe 5-10 years ago. That's why they don't really pursue getting those disability benefits. But now these days it's much easier because you got technology, you got other things that we can use, that the VA uses to give you a disability rating. On an average, you submit a claim, it takes about 5 months for the whole process. 5 months. So within 5 months, you know whether you are service connected or not. I think every veteran has to do their claims, and this is what I tell everybody. Yes, it is kind of frustrating. The process might be frustrating because it is a lot of stuff that you got to do, but at the long run, the benefits are huge. So yes, it might take you a few years to get your stuff in place, but it's well worth it. It's well worth it, David. Well worth it.
I think there are so many veterans out there that have just, and listen, guys, including myself, right? That when I got out of the military, I served 9 years in the military. I'm pretty sure that I can find some kind of service related incident that still gives me a pain to this day, right? And I think a lot of veterans have let go of the process because of the thought of how difficult it is. And I'm glad that you said that times have changed. It's gotten a little more, I guess, streamlined, if you will. And you're looking 5, 6 months, and you can see if you have at least a minimum 10% disability.
Correct. It's not only about it's with the rating, disability rating comes money. It's not only about that. It's just that once you get service connected, you get the disability. You're going to be eligible for other benefits. It's a whole package. In other words, again, I mean, if you don't have no service connection, you're not getting no money a month. And then on top of that, you cannot use other benefits like maybe get tax exemptions on your property or things like that. So you need to stop by the VA, submit a claim. But it's not. I mean, the number one thing that you guys got to do, all veterans got to do, is get their medical record. You need to get your medical records from active duty. That's the number one thing. Otherwise, I mean, the odds or the chances of you getting anything are really slim.
Right, because you have to connect whatever medical situation you have now to something that happened actually while you were in service. And that's where the service connected
Correct.
disability comes in.
Correct. Correct. And the only way to prove that is by showing your medical record and showing that that actual injury happened when you were in the service. Um, because remember, you can get compensated for almost everything, but you gotta have your medical record showing that that condition happened in the service.
Okay. So now some of the other benefits that we discussed, and I know Jen, you might have the answer to this. Obviously, all I need is a 10% service connected disability, and I could probably have my funding fee exempted on my VA loan. What about my taxes, like Florida taxes, like my property taxes and stuff?
So you would have to go, so Florida is a homestead state, and it allows you as a veteran to have a reduction in your taxes. So if you have less than 100% disability, then you will get about $5,000 reduction from the assessed value of your home, which essentially yields in some sort of savings in the long term, right? Not only that, as a homestead, your properties don't increase year to year as much as other people's taxes. There's a limit of about 3% every year
And
increase.
then if I'm 100% disability,
You don't pay
you don't
any
pay.
property
Like,
tax.
think about that, guys. Like,
You have to apply.
yeah, you have to apply for it, but 100% disability gives me no property taxes. Like, that's insane. And I think, Max, and you can help me with this. Like you said a little while ago, there are big. It's a bigger package than just some money every month and service connected disability. Like we just said, some of the added benefits are exemption of the funding fee, potentially lowering my property taxes, or being completely exempt from them. What are some of the other benefits that veterans get when they create that service connection?
Okay, there's so many other benefits. Let's go with number one, healthcare. Healthcare. Once you become service connected, you're eligible for more additional services at the VA. Okay, because before you were service connected, I mean, let's say a veteran that has no service connections. Yes, he is going to be eligible for care at the VA, but he might have copays. Now you become service connected, many copays are going to go away. So not only that, I mean, a veteran might not be initially eligible for care simply because they make too, but maybe the veteran makes too much money, in other words. So once they become service connected, no matter how much they make, yes, they are going to become eligible for benefits at the Miami VA. Now, the other huge advantage of having a service connection is the education piece. Let's say let's say you date. Let's say you have a bad injury on your back, okay, but you work construction, okay, you are 10%. Therefore, you can apply for vocational rehab, meaning that the VA is going to send you to school. They're going to pay for school, so you can get trained on another job, like I don't know, human resources, for example, a job in which your service connected condition is not going to get aggravated. So you go to school for free for 3 4 years. The VA pays for that, so they can reassign you to get you into a different profession. That's one. Another huge benefit that I know that Jen is going over a lot of those, but I mean I keep emphasizing that on veterans is you use your VA loan. The VA loan, I mean, if you it's I mean, it's a huge benefit. It's a huge one, and that's something that I keep emphasizing on every veteran that I see at the VA to use to use their VA loan because it is a benefit that you have earned, and but you gotta use it. Um, Let me see another benefit that comes available with the service connection, depending on what your disability rating is as well. Because if you're 100%, you don't pay taxes on your property, but also you or your dependents can go to school. You too. Your dependents can go to school for free.
Max,
College. So they can.
yeah, I want to stop you there for a second because I don't think people understand the gravity of this. If you have 100% disability rating, not only will you go to school for free, but your dependents will go to school for. If you have 10 children, all 10 children go to school for free within the state.
Correct. That's for your children, your dependents, not for the veteran. The veteran, obviously, you had your GI Bill, so you should. I mean, I don't know if you used it or not, but that's how the VA sees it. If you already had your entitlement, which was the GI Bill, but
That's the one thing. That's the one thing I did right, Max. That's the one thing I did right. I got when I was active duty still in the Marine Corps, I went to school almost full time. I was stationed in California, and I literally was taking 3 to 4 classes a semester while serving active duty and traveling to Okinawa, Guam, Turkey, back and forth, running 6 armories around the world. And I figured it out. I figured out a way to go to school full time online with a military friendly school. And this, while I was in, I'm sure it's still the same. They were paying 100% of your tuition. And I had the GI Bill. The GI Bill finished covering after I left the Marine Corps. I still had some schooling left, and it finished covering all the way through my master's degree. So I do have an MBA thanks to the military and the GI Bill that I paid $0 for. And I almost went for my doctorate, not for anything other than to be Dr. Curtis, to be honest with you. I didn't want it for anything else, but I almost went for my doctorate. And when I called the GI Bill, when I called the VA, they said, well, you've got $7 left. And I was like, well, I don't think that's going to cut it, But I did use it. The benefits are fantastic. The benefits are fantastic. I think in the broadcast, I'll put Max's email in some of the broadcast postings. If you have questions about medical benefits, about service-connected disabilities, how to apply, Max will put you on his email list. He's always informing veterans on a constant basis. We get email updates of everything that happens, new updates, ways, applications you can use, things you can use to fill out, things people need to do to focus on taking advantage of what the United States is providing for you as a veteran, right? And so I'm gonna cut this off. We did really good. I try to keep these to a half hour because people have ADD like me, and then they don't, they won't listen to the whole video. But the last thing, Max, if I can touch on, is mental health. A lot of veterans suffer from mental health issues. A lot of veterans suffer from depression, night terrors, claustrophobia, certain fears. Veterans carry a lot of weight on them, and sometimes people think it's all service, all war connected, and sometimes it's not all war connected. There could have been a million things that happened in the time that this person served in the military. And I mean, I personally used to wake up in the middle of the night sitting straight up, ready to fight. And thankfully, after many years, that has calmed down. And I can't imagine how many people think about suicide, think about how no one loves them, or depression, or things like that. And there's been this rave for the last couple of years on social media, 22 push-ups a day for the 22 veterans that commit suicide. And when you think about things like that, I want to be able to put some information out, Max, on how a veteran feeling like this can find help and assistance.
Well, the first thing that every veteran has to do is you gotta go looking for the assistance. You gotta go looking for it. Because, not only with the mental health, but like with other benefits, they're not gonna be coming up looking for you. I mean, I wish it was different, but that's how it is. You gotta go looking for yourself.
Right.
One thing that I always tell veterans is that yes, the system might be sometimes you might find 2 or 3 people that are not doing what they're supposed to be doing, but eventually you're gonna get to someone that is gonna care and is gonna be doing things for you. Now, mental health. Mental health is a big topic at the Miami VA. So thankfully, we have so many really good counselors that do a lot of good things with veterans. The number one thing that every veteran has is do their physical, their yearly physicals. Because doing those yearly physicals, you can catch up with a lot of this type of issues, and your primary care will be able to refer to whatever other specialties you might need, which might be mental health. Now, if we go over mental health and disability compensation, you can claim mental health conditions. You can claim those. As a matter of fact, you can even claim mental health conditions that happened before you went into the service and got aggravated due to service. So I see a lot of those that are conditions that got aggravated by service. So you can claim that as well. But bottom line, you can get assistance in anything that you need. You can get guidance on any benefit that you might be seeking. But the bottom line is that you gotta go out knocking doors. You gotta look. You gotta call. You gotta reach out. Because if you don't reach out, it's really hard for me or anybody at the VA to come looking for you because we don't know what kind of issues you have.
And guys, I really want to put this out there. Max is letting you guys know, if you are a United States veteran and you need help, reach out to your brothers and sisters. And the very easy way to do that is to go to the VA and get a checkup. And if you don't know how to do that, just search for the VA in your local area. Give them a call on the hotline. There are suicide hotlines. There are medical hotlines. Give them a call on any line they have and try to schedule an appointment. The beauty of it now is, I'll be honest with you, I've had like 6 or 7 appointments in the last 4 weeks. which is abnormal because in my brain, I always thought the VA is way behind. This is going to take forever just to get a physical. And I have 2 appointments on Monday for blood work and a CAT scan. Like, and this is most of the appointments, and I hate to say thanks to COVID because nobody wants to thank COVID for anything, but most of the appointments have been telehealth appointments where I've been able to get on the phone with a nurse, go over everything, and I've been able to get on phone with other doctors. I have a video one coming up soon where obviously it needs to be face to face, but it's going to be through video. Then obviously for the CAT scan, I got to go out to the Miami VA and get my CAT scan done. But the majority of the appointments can be handled at home. And I will tell you that when you make these appointments, keep them, go through the process, do what you need to do, and create a better life for yourself. Therapy could go a really long way, guys. All right.
I mean, I would say that just when in doubt, just schedule the appointment anyway. Just see them because you just don't know. You don't really know what you have. And I know my husband doesn't speak about this lightly, but as he's had these conversations with these doctors, he's found things that he didn't think were related to his service, and they were.
And I'm glad Jen brought that up because Max, we're trained. I'm sorry, Max. I'll let you in a second. We're trained to leave the military.
We don't really like to go sickle, right? We don't.
Yes,
really
we don't like sickle, and so that's exactly what I was going to say. You get out of the Marine Corps, and I can speak on behalf of the Marine Corps because that's what I am. But you get out of the Marine Corps and you're taught not to bitch, moan, grope, or complain about anything, right? So here we are. And it creates a veteran that doesn't want to complain, that doesn't want to sound, for a lack of better words, like a bitch, and now you have to kind of break the mold, break yourself down and say, you know what, I am going to seek help.
But David, I mean, I know that there's a lot of veterans maybe on this call that have healthcare. They probably have healthcare. Some of them, many of them have. But you gotta look at it this way. Please keep the VA. All you gotta do with the VA is fiscal year, just one, and then you can keep the VA as your secondary insurance because you never know what can happen next year or in 5 years from now. You might not be having the insurance that you have now. So therefore, it's always wise to keep the VA at least as your secondary insurance. I know we got issues with time, but I'm gonna give you a quick example. That happened about 6 months ago. I was in my office, and there was a gentleman that comes into my office, and he's like, "Hey, can you give a hand to this lady?" What happened was that there was a lady at the VA, maybe 80s, low 80s. She was just walking around trying to get assistance, and no one was able to give her assistance because they were not really sure what was going on with the lady. I thought what happened was that the husband, which was a Korean vet, left the service back in the 60s. Got a nice job here in Miami, great health insurance. So the lady kept telling him, "What about the VA? Why don't we go by the VA?" And the veteran kept saying, "No, we don't need the VA. We're good. We're good." So it happened that about 6 months ago, the gentleman now is 80s, somewhere in the mid 80s, was admitted at one of the hospitals in Miami. It happened that he was there for about a month, and he was running out of money. Obviously, his insurance was running out of money. So what the lady was trying to do is was trying to see if the VA was going to be able to pick up some of the remaining tab. So the lady didn't have a clue what a DD 214 was. So in other words, she was trying to get the husband enrolled, register with the VA, get the forms. So, and I kept thinking to myself, I'm a veteran. I mean, why wait until something happens? Or why put your family in a bad position when you can do it yourself now? So it's something that I saw at the VA, and this is an example that I give every veteran that I see. So now that you're healthy, you're still young, I mean, take care of yourself. Do what you need to do. We're not getting young. So,
Yeah, we're definitely not getting any younger.
Well, I think the other thing is that standard doctors don't really know or are trained to look at, veteran related things, or to search for them for that matter. And I think that's one thing I saw also with David is when, he's been to doctors before, he doesn't see for similar issues, but he didn't see any benefit in seeing those doctors because there was nothing there. They didn't seek enough, I guess, is my opinion. And as he's having these conversations with these VA doctors, these doctors at the VA, it was a completely different thing. He like opened up doors to other things that another doctor would have never noticed.
Yep.
correct.
Well, guys, I want to, like I said, I want to thank you both for doing this with me. And I was going to share a little video. Let me see if I can share this little video. It's not going to let me share it. Well, I'm going to try anyway. Let me know if you guys can see. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
It's coming up. Yeah, it's coming up. There you go.
Are you ready to do this? Starting off. I don't have a car. To the shores of Tripoli, we have won our country's battle in the air and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Army.
I wanted to share that with you guys. That was yesterday at Duffy's here in Miami. Duffy's bar and grill in Miami, which is owned by a Marine, and for the 16th consecutive year has celebrated the Marine Corps birthday there and Veterans Day. So happy Veterans Day to everyone out there. I hope that we have been able to bring an enormous amount of value to you today. And that was our complete goal. Our complete goal was to bring you value. I hope that you pulled a lot of information from this. If you want more information about anything we talked about today, just reach out to me and I'll put you in contact to these two wonderful people. Thank you, Max. Thank you, Jen, for doing this with me. I appreciate you guys very much.
Thank you for having us.